Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. With the recent string of suicide cases in Hollywood, the passing of designer Kate Spade and journalist Anthony Bourdain, both deaths have sparked a global conversation around mental health conditions. We will be taking a closer look at these conditions and, more importantly, suicide. How can we prevent each other from getting to that point? Joining us to discuss this is Oyinda Fakeye, a cultural producer and mindfulness expert. In 2014, she started Sound Mind Africa as a platform to connect users and mental health professionals.
We also have Amanda Ihemebiri, who works as a psychotherapist at her private practice called Indidi.
Welcome to the morning show, ladies.
Thank you so much for having us.
Great to have you here.
Yeah, so it's great that we're having this conversation. It's sad the circumstances, but we have seen more celebrities come out and talk about mental health issues. We had Kanye West talk about his being diagnosed with bipolar on his 41st birthday, which is very recent. So do you think this is a really good step in the right direction in terms of starting the conversation, it starting with celebrities?
Well, it's a sad one, and it's an unfortunate one too, but it kind of gets a lot of people feeling a lot safer to want to talk about it, because like celebrities are people that they idolize. So if someone that you respect so much and you admire is able to come forth and say, okay, fine, you know what, I'm not okay. And I go through all these problems that everyone else experiences. I experience mental health challenges, and I know where to get help. So yes, it is a step in the right direction. I wish it was something more normal to talk about. I wish these things didn't have to happen before we had the conversation. But you know, big things start with very small incidents, and then it's like one thing happens that triggers something that changes an entire space. So maybe this is our own thing. This is our own little spark of fire that's going to get it all started before everyone can now start paying attention to how important our mental health is.
Right. Do you think it's prominent in the entertainment industry?
I think that they are paid to be vulnerable and to share their stories.
Paid to be vulnerable?
Because we ask that of them. We ask for our stars to have all the emotions that maybe we don't feel safe to have. You know, you like it when your favorite musician is going through a heartbreak because they're able to pour out their emotions on the track and you can relate to it. And we love to see our celebrities, you know, in bust-ups and getting angry and, you know, just basically expressing.
Do we love to? I don't know. I beg to disagree. I don't know that we love to.
I think through their art.
Through their art. We love for them to express it because we can't. That's what I mean. So they can pour out their emotions on a track and then we can touch it. We can relate to it. And we don't have to, in our real lives, go through it.
Right.
So we give them that empowerment to do that. But it's also not safe for them, because we like them to be in that box. It's just like when an artist is known for sad songs and then all of a sudden, it's like Mary J when she was going through her sad song period. We loved Mary J, and then all of a sudden she was happy and we're like, not sure about this happy Mary J, you know. But it's not fair for us to put that pressure on them.
Yeah, and would you also agree that so you've spoken about it in the context of their art, not in their personal life, because what happens is a lot of the time we give them all these terms and conditions, and then what happens is they can't meet up, and then it's almost like they're disappointing you, and then it's almost like their fans turn on them, and that alone mentally is not. I wouldn't say that's really very healthy, because we've seen it with Kanye West as well. He seems to be an emotional being, very emotional. And I'm sure all these things about them talking about him being in the sunken place really got to him, because he actually did. Kim posted a picture of their house saying that, oh, does this look like the sunken place? And for those of you who don't know, the sunken place is actually a place in the movie Get Out, which is not really something a place where anybody wants to be. So I feel like in their personal life, there are issues with their relation to the fans, don't you think? With the fans and their expectations?
Yeah, my thing with that is, I feel like they've handed so much power to the fans, you know, because... And I feel like some celebrities tend to forget that they're human. Because when
the fans tend to forget that the celebrities
I think even they forget, because they now start living that life outside. You see them on the street, going to the grocery store, if they do go to the grocery store, you see them doing things that are seemingly normal, but they are dressed head to toe like the celebrity, not like the human. So I honestly enjoy seeing pictures of people like Jennifer Lopez, you know, strolling down in her jeans and her sweater.
But a lot of them are actually dressed very normal. They're actually living their everyday life. But what it is I feel the fans and the paparazzi and what comes around it don't allow them live
to forget.
to forget
they can't
exactly.
switch off.
Exactly.
When they step out of their house, they have to be on for their fans because their fans are always judging every single move they make. And even just as a normal person, we experience judgment in our lives, but not on the scale that, you know, they do. One false move and, you know,
That goes back to my point of, and Amanda would let you speak because you haven't said much, but that goes back to my point of them handing the power over to the fans, you know. I go to certain places now and I'm recognized. Steph, I know the same happens with you, you know, but I'm not going to hand that power. Like, I'm not going to be who you want me to be. I am me on TV right now and I will be me when I'm not on TV. So I feel like celebrities need to have that conversation with themselves, with their family, with therapists.
How do you do that when that's where you make your money?
You make your money performing.
Yes, but then you perform to your fans.
Yeah.
So if you don't live up to that idea, you're losing your market.
Yeah.
What do you do when it's your source of income? The people that listen to your music, the people that buy your songs, the people that watch your movies, you're a brand, and that's what they're buying into, that idea of you.
If I see Beyonce on the street doing something normal, I'm not going to, like, expect Beyonce to start singing on the street.
No, that's not what they expect. What they expect is, so for example, we talk about social media now. If I talk about from my experiences, what they expect is for you to be available to them. So if I go somewhere now and they recognize me, they expect me to take a picture, they expect me to be happy, even if I've maybe had a bad day.
But
they
it's
don't.
your part to say no.
No, but then this is what happens. What happens is you say no, and then you get on social media, and then they write a full-blown story about. This has actually happened to me before. And they've actually told me that I said I didn't want to take a picture, which didn't happen. And they now started trying to say that, she didn't want to take a picture with me. I'm coming off of a flight, I'm tired, and you didn't ask me, your friend asked me, I took a picture with her, and now you've gone on to make up a whole story, which is on blogs, and people are talking about this. And the thing about it is, people don't understand that we are human. Like, the celebrity is still a human being. It's not the celebrity that doesn't understand that they're a human being. What happens is, the people they're surrounded by, in terms of fans, and even sometimes if you're not in the right circle, can make you feel like you can never be comfortable. You know what I mean? So there's this whole thing of you almost always have to be prepared, because seriously, if you go out and you're upset now and a fan asks you to take a picture, guess what's going to happen? That fan is going to hate you for the rest of their life.
And also another thing as well is that you're very grounded, and you have a sense of identity. But not every celebrity has that.
So that's what I'm saying.
And when they're elevated, it's even more, it's heightened. So if you're not very sure, you're not very confident in yourself and who you are off the stage, then you're going to want to perform up to other people, because that judgment hurts you just that much more. So I think it's more it's not really about celebrity, it's more about a personal sense of worth, sense of identity, which you have. And if you weren't on TV, if you were doing something totally different, you'd still have that.
But here's the thing. Let's not make it seem like these people don't have identities, because they do. The issue is the fact that they are constantly being penalized for doing things. Like when Davido had that case with the friend that died, they automatically wanted to throw everything on him because he was the star amongst everyone. So sometimes they don't even get the right to just be themselves. And thank goodness he was able to also clarify that, because the police had already come out and said all these things against Davido. And if you don't follow up on the story, you will think, your last memory will be, before he has another hit, Davido was involved in a murder case, which is not what happened. But what happens is, especially with social media, there's so much information out now that people are not even able to react or act or say anything before information is just disseminated everywhere.
Okay, Amanda, so let's talk.
Easily.
Let's hear what you have to say to this.
What I have to say is, like, when you compare, one thing I always say is, like, I'm so happy that Nigerian celebrities do not have to go through half of what American celebrities go through. Because if you had cameras hounding you every day of your life. You're trying to walk somewhere and just have like click, 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 click. You're getting to a store, trying to have a conversation, even have a private dinner. Like, it would be mad. Like, you wouldn't want that. So when you think about foreign celebrities, what they experience is more of like it's international. So it's not one person, it's not 5,000 people, it's not 10, it's millions of people, billions of who are consistently commenting on who you should be, how you should act, and what you should do. And you can't say that that wouldn't hurt you as a person. It definitely affects you. It would definitely bring your self-esteem down, even no matter how much of a person, how strong your identity is there, it's definitely going to affect you. And very few, that's the thing, like very few celebrities actually have that very strong system around them, that support system, a very good, healthy social support system. And not many of them have that, because almost everyone around you is trying to capitalize on your fame. You have your makeup artist, you have your director, your manager, your producer. Everyone is trying to make money to survive off of your own identity. So how do you do that when everyone you start to feel like everyone is taking from you? Where do you go to? So very few celebrities really have that good, strong, healthy support system that can keep them grounded, that can tell them, okay, fine, you're going off the rails, you need to go and get help, you need to go talk to someone, you really need to speak to somebody else, or you need to come let us ground you, you need to take a break from work and not tour anymore, or not go out for shows, and just really make sure you take care of yourself. You need to not go on the internet and don't Google yourself, don't try to read what people are writing about you, because it's not true. Not many of them really have that very good, healthy support system. So some of them end up crashing and burning. It's a lot of responsibility, and not everyone has the power and the knowledge and the wisdom to carry that responsibility.
So how do we get that power, knowledge, wisdom to the celebrity?
It is always like, you have to humanize them, and even they have to humanize themselves. Like, you have to bring yourself down. You have to let people understand that there is me and there's my work. So I've tried to like study some celebrities that have been able to sort of create that barrier between knowing that, okay, this is my job, and then this is my life. And it's like, you find...
What would you say some of those celebrities are?
I think one of my favorite has to be, is he Austrian or so? He acted in this movie that had Brad Pitt, I think is about the war, the German war. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he's... Inglourious Bastards. And he was, I'm sorry about the title, that's the name of the movie. And he was in the first scene when he went to this Jewish guy's house, and he was like, I think he ended up killing the entire family, but that actor, he's done this thing where he's been able to preserve and protect his family and keep them far, far away from the media. So it's like almost nobody knows anything about his personal life. You'd never read about it. Very few celebrities have been able to sort of like keep their own private and personal, like move their families away from the limelight, move their personal life away from the limelight, find a way to sort of like protect the information that goes out and the ones that come in. It takes a lot. It really takes a lot from them. Beyonce is another example, like someone who's been able to control the amount of information that goes out. So whatever you hear is what she wants you to hear. But not
most times.
Yeah, most times. But then you always have those cases where it's like your friend has been paid off like a certain amount of money to release particular information about you. So it's like, if you have a very good social support system around you, no matter what situation you're in, if you're a celebrity or you're just a regular person, it is very important. It is very, very, very important.
So in the case of someone like Kate Spade, you know, she was going through a divorce, or about to go through a divorce, or maybe already going through the divorce, and she took her life. You know, so someone like that, what could her husband have done differently? He didn't want to stay married. He wasn't going to compromise his happiness for her happiness, you know, but someone like that, you know, and I know he knew about her mental health issues and her mental health conditions. What could he have done to prevent the suicide?
I don't know what Kate was actually going through. I don't know if she was depressed. I don't know if she was bipolar. I don't know if she actually had a mental health issue, because I know that most of the time when someone commits suicide, everyone wants to say, okay, fine, there was a mental health disorder, but that's not always the case. It's like, take, for example, the lady who committed suicide in Third Mainland. It was just guilt and shame. That was why she ended her life. So it's like, it's a very impulsive act.
Apparently that's actually false.
It's false. That's not a true story.
Yeah, but if we use that as an example.
Okay, fine. If we use that as an example, for example, like it's not always like there has to be like depression or it's an impulsive act where people just feel hopeless and helpless and like, well, what's the point of continuing anyway? I'm trying all these things. I can't get money to feed. I can't get a job. I can't get a relationship to work out. I can't get certain things to make my life get better. And because of that, they feel like, you know, I'm done. There is no point living anymore if I can't get or experience the basic things that a normal human being has to go through.
And when you're talking of normal human beings, what kind of message does that send to them?
You mean in terms of
in terms of like, Kate, Spade.
Well, the one thing I have come to answer for myself, because a lot of people have been asking me that question, is like, if people high up there where we're trying to get to, they're all killing themselves, then what does that mean?
Yeah.
And the answer I found out is that there's so much more to this thing called life. Far much more than our goals and our dreams. There are some things that are so much more important that sustain us far much more than all the things we choose to achieve and all the things that we want to get and all the journeys we want to experience, external, completely external of us. There are some things that are so important inside, and that's what we now need to start paying attention to. That's the thing that cuts across all human beings, in spite of where you are, where you're from, or what you're experiencing. So those are the things that we need to start focusing on and find out what are they, what are the things that matter.
And even just
in life.
counting our blessings, you
Yeah,
know, because
being grateful.
being
It's so
grateful.
important.
Gratitude is actually one of the #1 protecting factors when we talk about mental health and emotional health. So building up a gratitude practice and, like you said as well, shame and guilt and overwhelm are some of the major factors that we're actually dealing with, especially in a city like Lagos. It's not so much that we're seeing people with bipolar disorder or PTSD or depression. We're seeing people with overwhelm. We're seeing people who are in shame. We're seeing that the society as a whole, the way it's run, is not very healthy. At all. And it's just showing itself and reflecting itself with people wanting to get out, finding a way just to cope.
Yeah, we're going to actually talk more about that after the break. Do stay with us, so we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We've been discussing mental health issues with our guests, Oyinda and Amanda. And so far, we've addressed mental health in the entertainment industry and managing depression as a celebrity. Welcome back to the morning show, ladies.
Welcome back.
So now we're going to talk about living in a mega city like Lagos, you know, and let's touch on every other city. Kate Spade lived in New York. Anthony Bourdain was traveling around the world, you know, city to city. I feel like fast-paced places take a toll on mental health. Trust, there are times I'm driving and I get to where I'm going to and I'm just drained. I haven't been running, I haven't been exercising. I've literally just been trying to get from point A to B and I just feel crazy.
Do you know, I tell myself, I do this thing where I block out Lagos. Like I block out, and I'm conscious to myself, Amanda, because when you're a therapist, it asks you to be very empathetic. So like your empathy levels are really high. So I could be around somebody and you don't even have to tell me what your problem is, but your energy, I can actually feel it. Like I can tell, okay, you're choking, because I start to feel choked as well. So sometimes I tell myself, Amanda, whatever you do not tune in into the energy of Lagos or you're going to die, literally, because you would get so depressed. It's a very, very, Lagos is in so much pain. Yes. Like it is in pain. It is in a lot of dark pain. And you see all these people suffering, and I'm like, I know you're in pain. So stop pretending to be okay. Because even if nobody else can see it, I can literally see you.
How do you do that? How do you tune out of the energy of Lagos?
You create your own world around yourself, and then you block it. You have to block it. So you have to create barriers around yourself and your mental blocks. So no matter what people bring at you, you have a filter to like filter everything out. You have to have that filter. If not, everything is going to eat you and get into your being.
Okay, I'm really trying to make this as practical as possible for the viewers.
So now,
you're driving.
Yes.
I'm always
exactly.
using driving. The Danfo driver, the Okada, the Keke Napep, everybody, there are people begging, hitting on your window, trying to clean your windscreen, all of that. What does Toya do?
People insulting you.
People insulting you for absolutely no reason.
Do not react with the way, do not react to what they're doing.
Give love.
Yes, that's it. That's the best way.
You use the right word, it's reaction. A lot of what we do in Lagos is we react. You know, I used to have road rage. Like, I remember the first time my brother was in the car with me and I just went at the person and then I went, oh, sorry. Because I'm not like that in real life. And he just like burst out laughing because he's never seen me like that. Yeah. And I used to have terrible road rage. And then I just thought about it and I just thought, Oyinda, it's not really affecting them, it's affecting you.
Exactly.
And then I started having a new mantra, I will not die in traffic. I will not die in traffic. I had to keep saying it to myself. I thought, no, it's really not that serious at the end of the day. If someone cuts me off, then, you know, they cut me off. They've cut me off, so what?
I'm still
moving ahead, you know. And I think it's having that, okay, and then what kind of attitude. So, and I think that's what I learned a little bit as well with mindfulness, is that just taking that pause. Because sometimes we don't pause and we react, and something happens, and something, you know, dangerous.
Seconds.
Yes.
Yeah. But you really do have to give it to people living in Nigeria, and especially in Lagos, because if you think about it, some of these people are working jobs that are very long hours, and they're sitting in traffic for a long time, and then they're also sleeping without electricity, which means they're probably sleeping in heat. And then it's a cycle they do every day. They wake up in the morning, they probably haven't had enough sleep, they've slept in heat, they now enter the car, they're in traffic, or they're entering the bus, and it's just chaotic. It's like chaos building on chaos. How can you? What things can they do to actually channel this energy and turn it into a positive one?
I think. Sorry, I just feel one thing that came to mind now was adaptability. That's humans. You know, we adapt. You go somewhere cold, you adapt.
I feel like Nigerians are very good
Nigerians
at
are like
very resilient, but
that's the word.
But we push ourselves because we know we're resilient. We still keep pushing our boundaries. But like Amanda said, Lagos especially, I remember when I read the statistics that Lagos was the 3rd most stressful city in the world. Yeah. And the 2 cities above that were cities that had just experienced civil war.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
So when we talk about insecurity and we talk about, you know, just being like, on edge, you know, and that's what we're doing, and we don't have enough sleep, and, you know, we have to get to work at, you know, we leave the house at 5, we come back at 10, we're not seeing our families, we're not being paid enough, you know, or we're in environments that are not healthy.
Conducive,
That's when we now do start seeing these issues of, like, mental health issues, emotional health, emotional illness, sorry. But what we need to think about is, we don't necessarily have to completely overhaul our life, even though I do think that in terms of roads, transport, we don't always have to look to the Ministry of Health or, you know, doctors for how we can live a healthy life. We need to start thinking about how we live our lives outside of the hospital, you know, on the roads. I remember when they built they were working on the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway. And someone was like, oh, it's just a road. And I was like, no, it's not just a road. It means that someone's spending maybe 2 hours less time in traffic every single day, you know, 10 hours a week of their life that they're not like on edge in the roads. That can influence someone's mental health, you know, and we need to think about how to have a healthy city. How are our employers thinking about our health? What can they do to make our lives a bit healthier, you know, not just doctors, not just, you know, medication, thinking about medication, but
I agree completely. I agree. And I think that one thing that has sort of helped me a whole lot, because I always tell people that when you move into Lagos, there's like a few steps you're going to go through. You're going to first start with, oh, I can change the city.
Yes,
and then you go into, you now realize that, oh, we're all mad in this city. And then after that, you become so angry, and then you become very depressed, because then you realize that you're helpless. Like, this is where I am. What am I going to do? And that's when you now start to adapt. But one thing I have learned that has helped me a lot is that kindness. It is a huge deal. It has made my life so much easier. Kindness. I am kind to everyone, from the bus driver, because I've decided not to drive in Lagos anymore. There is no reason to adopt that stress. From a bus driver to a taxi driver to a conductor, I get into a keke and I'm like, how are you? How's work today? Have you eaten? Make sure you eat. And these people smile. And then your drive is a lot more peaceful. And then when they're driving, I'm like, don't haggle. I tell them, don't argue with a bus driver. Don't worry. Someone is trying to get in front of you. I'm not in a hurry. Let them go. So it's like teaching people to be calm. Just be calm. Everywhere is so fast-paced. You can't add that to yours. But if you're kind and you're compassionate to other people, it will come back to you. And it will make your life a whole lot easier, and it would make it a whole lot seamless. Because something small happens and everyone is just like blowing a fuse. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It's
like a ripple effect.
It's a snowball,
the driver to the passenger.
I try to let my clients know. I'm like, see, this is how this thing works. It's like karma. Whatever you put out will definitely come back to you. If you make somebody angry, that person's going to take that anger to somebody else, and that person's going to take that to somebody else. And before you know it, it's going to go round and it's going to come back to you because you've probably pissed off a keke driver, and then it's going to ripple and get to a police officer who is going to end up harassing you. But when you put kindness out into the environment, that kindness is going to come back to you as well. Because it's just energy. It keeps passing around. So kindness, if you want to survive in Lagos, just be kind. Be kind to everybody you meet, the people you work with. I have made a lot of friends. I don't give people money just because. I treat you like a human being. And that makes people, it's a kind of respect that they have, that you see them as human beings and you treat them as human beings. So they feel that need to want to treat you as a human being as well. So
just to touch on that, what you said is about seeing people. And I think because the city is so fast-paced, we don't see people. And when people are invisible, that's when, you know, the hurt really does rise. And that's when we do miss signals, such as people, you know, being suicidal or being depressed. But seeing people and just saying, I've seen you, you know, hello, how are you? I've seen you. I've seen you. And it's not about who you are. It's not about where you work. It's not about, you know, where you are on the wealth scale. It's that I've seen you and I've acknowledged that you're here and you exist. And then giving them that kindness.
One thing that you guys didn't add, which I would add, is taking a break from these fast cities. You know, when you can go to a Lumo Rock. You don't have to leave the country. Go travel. You know, like it will help your sanity. It will keep you sane.
I go to Ibadan because I have to do work as a photographer as well. So I travel to Ibadan to shoot. And it was until recently I realized that, oh, this is actually my little vacation from Lagos. Like, and Ibadan is so
It's peaceful.
It is. It's so calm.
It is so calm. So it's like, oh, wow. So this is what calm looks like.
It's not Nigeria. It's actually mainly predominantly Lagos.
It's just Lagos.
You go to Abuja, go to Abeokuta. It's very
calm.
Even Abuja, that's a bus.
Listen,
kind of bus.
I think that Abuja is like an introvert and Lagos is an extrovert.
Exactly.
So anytime I touch down in Abuja, I'm like, you know, and then Lagos, like, okay, back to the grind. And the thing is that, I mean, I realize now how lucky I have it. When I moved to Nigeria about 10 years ago, and I realized that I used to build in time to travel, and I felt I was pretty on top of my like emotional, mental health. And then I spent an extended period here, and I started, you know, feeling the irrational things. And I didn't tie it into the fact that I hadn't taken a break. I took a month off, and everyone's like, you look different.
That's what always happens.
And then I was back and ready. And I think, it's about taking breaks. But you can take breaks even in the city. There are lots of places, like if you can get outside in the environment, you know, go to a park or for instance. I think that's awesome.
It's been amazing talking to you, ladies. I've learned so much just talking to you, you know. Definitely kindness, you know. We have to be kind, even to people who drive us crazy every day. We have to be kind. Fans realize celebrities are humans. Celebrities realize you're human as well. You don't have to really do anything for the fans and so much more. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thank you,
Oyinda.
Thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you at home for watching. From the entire morning show team here in Lagos, all that's left to say is enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day.
Goodbye.